10 Pokémon appear in the first episode of Pokémon. Between them, they have 100 cards, and the hardest one to find is a Pikachu, but not the Pikachu you are picturing, not the base set one. It is a gold star from 2006 from one of the shortest printed subsets the game has ever made. The very first thing the Pokemon anime ever shows you is a battle that Ash is not in. He is watching it on a television in his bedroom, cap already on, throwing punches at the air along with the match the night before he is allowed to start. That is the whole premise in one shot. A kid who has seen an enormous amount of Pokemon and caught none of them. The battle on that screen is Gengar against Nidorino, and that pairing is not an accident. Gengar against Nidorino is the demonstration fight that plays on the title screen of Pokémon Red, the one you watch while you are sitting there not pressing start. The anime opens by restaging the single battle every player had already seen 100 times and never once controlled. Then Nidorino is recalled, and the ball that comes out next is an Onix. And it is not the same battle in every copy. In blue, Nidorino is gone. Game Freak swapped it for a Jigglypuff and did not swap the colors with it, so on a Game Boy Color that Jigglypuff comes out purple. It is still wearing the palette built for 2 purple Pokemon. The anime chose Red's version, which is why the first thing the show ever puts on screen is a Gengar and a Nidorino. And it is a fight. Nidorino cannot win, Gengar is part ghost, and in the first generation a ghost could not be touched by normal or fighting moves at all, which is very nearly everything Nidorino has. The card everybody remembers from that opening battle is the Ghost. Gengar, Legendary Collection, 2002, and it was drawn by Keiji Kinabuchi, who also designed every basic energy card of the original era and who introduced Mitsuhiro Arita to the man running the project. Without that introduction, Arita never illustrates a Pokemon card at all. Ash oversleeps. It is a small thing, and the episode makes it enormous, because by the time he reaches Professor Oak's lab, the 3 starters are gone. Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle are all taken, and all 3 are base set cards, the ones every collector's first binder page was built around. The 3 starters share more than a shelf in that lab. Their most sought-after cards all come from the same set, Legendary Collection in 2002, and all 3 were drawn by the same person, Mitsuhiro Arita, who had already drawn the base set Charizard. The 3 you could not choose between in 1999 were still being drawn by the same hand 3 years later. What is left is a Pikachu, and the episode is careful to make it clear this is not a consolation prize so much as a problem. It refuses the Pokeball. It ignores instructions. It electrocutes him, and then it electrocutes Professor Oak. So Ash leaves town dragging a Pokemon on a rope, wearing rubber gloves, which is not how any of the games or the cards ever presented this relationship. The card art has Pikachu cheerful and cooperative. The show opens with it actively hostile. The first wild Pokemon he meets is a Pidgey, and he does the thing every new player does, throws a ball at a full health Pokemon and watches it bounce off. Pidgey is a base set common, one of the cards you had 6 of and traded away without thinking. Here it is the first thing that beats him. Pikachu's hardest card to find is not from this era at all. It is a Gold Star, from 2006, drawn by Masakazu Fukuda. Gold Stars are one of the shortest printed subsets the game has ever run. A single one turned up roughly once a booster box, and the one that refused the Pokeball got one of them. Then he throws a rock at a Spearow, which is where the episode turns. A single Spearow becomes a flock, and the flock is not a battle. It is not something the rules can handle. There is no move to use and nothing to counter with. It is just weather that wants to hurt him. Spearow got its card in Jungle, the second set, and it is worth almost nothing. It is one of the great examples of the gap between what a card is worth and what it meant, because for a generation of kids that bird was genuinely frightening. Here is the strange part. 8 of these 10 Pokemon have their scarcest card in the same set, Legendary Collection 2002, and in every case it is not the holo. It is the reverse holo. Same artwork, same set, same year, printed in far smaller numbers, and for a long time nobody was pulling that set apart looking for them. The only difference between the common one and the one collector's hunt is the foil it was printed on. The ending is the part people actually remember. Ash runs through a storm holding an injured Pikachu, and when the flock catches them he puts himself between them with nothing at all. No plan, no Pokemon able to fight, just standing there. And Pikachu, which has spent the entire episode refusing him, jumps. Then the storm clears and a golden bird crosses the sky. It is not named. Nobody comments on it, and a very large number of children went straight back to Pokemon Red to find it, because this is before the internet and there was nobody to ask. It is not in there. It could not be. That Pokemon would not exist in a game anyone could play for another 2 years, and it would be years more before the show admitted what it was. Ho-Oh is the one exception, and the reason is the same reason it appears in the last 30 seconds instead of the first. Legendary Collection reprinted the original era only, and Ho-Oh belongs to the generation the show had not reached yet. Its first card arrives in 2001, 4 years after this episode aired. And there's one more thing. The Pokédex says that anyone who sees Ho-Oh is promised eternal happiness. Ash saw it in the first 30 seconds of the first episode. He has been 10 years old ever since.